This is episode 46 for April the 19th. Just a little piano here. Me this morning just hammering away a little bit. Yeah, hope you enjoy. Anyway, it's me on the piano. I've got a little keyboard which I hammer away on. My commentary for today, it's episode 46 for April the 19th. My commentary is I think there's a psychology that's evolving here where if, say for example, BC comes off lockdown, I saw a huge number of people on Kits Beach, more or less behaving as if, I think there's a social distancing respect, but there were a lot of people on Kits Beach. They've taken the logs away, but that's just not a problem for people when they throw a blanket down. So, large groups of people are congregating again. And in BC, that seems like a safe thing to do, of course, until the moment you do it and it triggers, the next contagion or the next outbreak. And what I think a lot of experts are now predicting, we're going to go through phases of, quarantine, no quarantine, quarantine, no quarantine, until we have a vaccine. And so I think people will live maybe a little bit more like wildly in these times of non-quarantine, because it's like you got out of jail, like you go wild, right? And you expect you might have to go back into jail, so you're going to live a little bit more, aggressively, freely. It's a very bizarre way to live, right? Like knowing that there's a very high chance that if we do have a little bit of freedom in the summer in BC and we continue to do well, we'll probably be quarantined again, very likely quarantined again in the fall. So I say make hay while the sun shines, because how does that affect the way you think about living your life? Surely that changes how you think and feel about living your life. The word of the day is I'm going to start quoting out of the books where I find these. This is out of the Plague. A few of these are going to be in the coming days. Sounding the plague's dismal, passionless tocsin. Now, not toxin like an X, like a poisonous thing, but rather a bell or an alarm. I'll just pull that up for you guys here. Where is it? That's the New York Times front page. We'll take a quick peek at that in a second. Yeah, there it is. An alarm bell or the ringing of it, a warning signal.
Toxin.
There it is. In news, a shortage of dialysis equipment. So it was all about ventilators, until it turned out that something like half of the ICU admissions that were COVID-related required dialysis. And there aren't that many dialysis machines, and so that's been the shortage. That's not that surprising to me. I knew from a personal experience early on that kidney, it's actually speculated that the COVID virus attacks the kidney sometimes in very much the same way as it attacks the lung tissue. So it's not a secondary effect, it's a fundamental attack of the COVID virus relative to the kidney, and possibly the heart as well, that's less well understood. So that's a challenge, because it might be much more of a concern than the ventilators ultimately, depending on the availability of. And now there's a mad scramble, of course, to find and scare up dialysis machines. What else here? It might be time for me to cut my hair. I could almost fit in there. The guy can just maybe cut my hair. This seems like the easiest path to go. Like, you can't really mess this up. I don't know what I'm going to look like with a buzz cut, but man, it's coming soon. My hairdresser will do backflips when she sees me, but it's going to be her problem to fix. At least I won't have hair that goes about 12 miles to the ceiling. That's the New York Times homepage. This is the front page for the Sunday Times. The 20 experts that were gathered for their opinion are suggesting a couple of years. There's at least a 2-year window here. That's how long it's sort of going to take to get through this. At least. Bill Gates echoed that last night when he popped in on that special. Of course, the GOP are making China the scapegoat to try to deflect the fact that Trump has blown this so badly. Talked about the dialysis issue. Some kind of meat supply chain problem. Germany are doing antibody tests en masse. They're really, really being aggressive. They're doing what the Germans do. They're turning this whole thing into a well-oiled machine, and as much as they can. And in this case, that means really, really aggressive, widespread testing. Yeah, so those are a couple of news headlines. What else do we have on the agenda here? Talked about the buzz cut, the dialysis machines. There's a little bit of my piano. Picture of the day, Lachlan flexing some years ago. I think we were on some trip somewhere. Can't remember exactly. But I will leave you guys with that. Looking good there, Lach. I love you guys. Thanks for listening to these. And I will speak with hopefully each of you guys soon.